Hey everyone, Michael Hirsch here. Grab your cup of coffee, settle in, let's jump into today's topic and video. There's a framework that is commonly used when it comes to trying to decide when should I use AI and when should I not use AI. It's this Automate, Augment, Abstain framework. And the way it works is this. You decide based on what the task is, if you're going to automate it, in which case you'll let AI handle it entirely. If you want to scale that back a little bit, you may want to just augment, in which case you're going to be involved. You'll be that human in the middle. You'll use AI to enhance your effort, so you and AI working together. And then finally, there are some tasks where you don't want AI involved at all, in which case you'll keep it purely human. This tends to mirror a similar framework that Ethan Mollick writes about in his book Co-Intelligence, where he talks about tasks that you automate, tasks that you delegate, and tasks that are just me. Okay? And while this framework is intellectually satisfying and strategically sound, it's designed for individual decision making. And it's genuinely useful, but it works well for one person, but when you try to apply it to an entire team, it doesn't scale. So today we're going to do an exploration around why does this Automate, Augment, Abstain framework work well for individuals, but it fails at team scale? And more importantly, how can you, as a team, make this framework actually work for you? And I'll walk you through how to do that. So picture this scenario. We're going to do as an example, competitive analysis research. So your team is trying to do a competitive analysis research, and you've trained everyone on the Automate, Augment, Abstain framework. So as a team leader, you're expecting a pretty consistent and straightforward analysis. Instead, you end up with a little bit of chaos. You've got Sarah on your team who wants to automate a lot of tasks, data gathering and pattern analysis, because she's a whiz and she's confident in her ability to work with AI and get good results. On the flip side, you've got Marcus, who is just maybe going to augment everything, mostly maybe even abstain because he just doesn't trust AI. And then you've got Jennifer, who's kind of somewhere in between, and a couple other team members. And so what you end up having is this. You've got some frustration, you've got different opinions, people wanting to attack this in different ways. And so the real problem, though, isn't that they don't understand the framework. It's that they don't have systematic decision criteria to make that automate, augment, abstain decision. So teams find themselves making gut-level decisions instead of consistent strategic decisions. And so to solve for that, I've developed a simple framework called AI or Human that gives teams really 4 questions to decide when to rely on AI and when to rely on humans. And so basically be able to make these decisions consistently. So let's dive into it. Number 1, does human effort create leverage on the outcome? Right? So the test is, if improving this task by 20% won't change what happens next, let AI handle it. Okay, this one kills the perfectionism trap right away, right off the bat. Where are some examples where you would have high leverage stakeholder communications during a crisis, right? Product messaging for launches, right? Those are really important. 20% better product messaging has an impact. 20% better weekly status reports, meh. 20% better meeting notes from stand-ups, meh. So based on this, decide when you're going to use AI, when you're not. Question number 2, what's the upside or downside of getting it wrong, right? So the framework you want to think about is high stakes requires human judgment. Low stakes, automate that stuff. So this gets rid of the I don't trust AI problem that often paralyzes teams. Trust isn't the issue. Risk assessment is the issue. For example, board presentations, they demand human judgment, not because AI is not trustworthy, but because the downside of AI getting it wrong is massive, right? Standard meeting summaries, automate those because perfect isn't really going to get you anything better than good. So the stakes of that are manageable. Question 3, can humans actually improve the outcome by 20%? So even if quality improvement matters, can you actually deliver on it? So this tackles what I often call the ego problem. maybe you think your personal touch can up-level the quality of an output by 50%, but does it really? Sometimes AI isn't just faster, it's objectively better. So where is there a human advantage? Interpreting emotional nuance and research. Sure, that's important. And you'll likely get significantly better results when a human does it than when AI does it. But where is AI advantaged? In pattern analysis across massive data sets, or generating multiple content variations, or brainstorming wild and, coming up with lots of different ideas. Consistent formatting and structure, right? So if you can improve it by 20% or more, maybe, but really ask yourself if you can. And the fourth question, how much cognitive energy does that human improvement require, right? So is this the best use of your finite cognitive capacity, right? This forces teams to think strategically about resource allocation instead of romantically about human involvement, right? How much peak cognitive energy do you have per day? And it's limited, and you know that. And so what are the best activities for you to expend that cognitive energy on? And what are the ones that are best not spent on, right? Protect your cognitive energy for product strategy, for problem solving, for team conflicts. Don't spend it on routine communications or formatting or documentation, right? So be able to make those decisions. So teams that use these 4 questions, this framework, this decision engine, don't just make better individual choices, they build organizational capabilities that compound over time. They achieve consistent categorization because they're using shared criteria, not their own personal opinions. So even adding new team members, they inherit the decision framework. They don't bring their personal preference and override it. And so what ends up happening is the team argues about business impact, not whether or not AI is good at something. They rapidly expand their AI footprint because they've built systematic confidence in making these decisions, so they can bring more and more of their daily work tasks into their AI processes. And they achieve compound velocity because they don't have decision overhead, and they're not asking about whether or not AI is good for this, and they're using this framework, these 4 questions, to make these decisions. So they are just able to really rapidly accelerate and start to outpace teams that are not nearly as structured or as organized. And so maybe that's the punchline. This isn't about AI adoption. It's about building systematic decision-making capabilities that's going to serve your team across whatever the technology shift is, whatever the next AI tool or AI advancement or AI trend is. A team that has strategic decision-making capabilities develop their strategic thinking muscle so they can tackle any challenge they face very, very quickly. Whereas the team that's just kind of winging it, they're going to find themselves back at square one. Your assignment, take your next AI adoption decision. Should I use AI or not? And maybe it's customer interviews, maybe it's automated reporting, maybe it's competitive intelligence analysis like we just talked about. Walk your team through all these 4 questions systematically. Watch what happens when these individual comfort levels give way to a very systematic, strategic way of thinking. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe below if you want to be notified every week when I release a new video. Also, in the description below, you'll find a link to download a copy of the AI or Human Framework. 2 more quick announcements. On Tuesday, September 30th, I'm joining up with Jacob Bank, the founder and CEO of Relay.app, an incredible AI agent tool, to do a lightning lesson, free, online, build an AI agent to turn feature releases into instant revenue. How do you go fast, instantly, from feature release to revenue, as opposed to waiting weeks or months for sales to get up to speed? And finally, I teach a course on Maven called Build an AI Confident Product Team. My point is AI is not a skill you can learn later. It's a leadership differentiator, and you need it now. I have cohorts starting next month in December, in that window right between Thanksgiving and the holidays. and then starting in early January. Thanks very much, and as always, break a pencil.